Hey, welcome to World Entertainment. And before Amazon and MGM and Sony came along with the new Masters of the Universe, which has come and gone and did not succeed at the box office at all, it bombed and bombed hard, unfortunately, because it was actually a really fun movie. There was at one stage another version of Masters of the Universe that was going to get done, a darker version from David S. Goyer. And you can see here this version of Skeletor. We've concept art now from the guy who apparently spent 15 years working not just on the David S. Goyer version. Apparently there was multiple versions from other people as well. And he's put out all the concept art and it's really interesting looking. Now, this version of Skeletor, it doesn't seem like this is actually his face, which you'll see what I mean when we get to the concept art. But very different take on Evil Lyn and stuff like that. But you can see concept art from the Masters of the Universe movies that never got made has surfaced, and it looks nothing like the campy comedy Amazon just watched crater at the box office. Veteran creature and character designer Konstantin Serkis, I think, who by his own account spent close to 15 years on the project across multiple regimes, has spent the past 2 weeks uploading design works on Instagram, including art from the versions developed at Sony when David S. Goyer was attached, and the Adam and Aaron Nee version that followed. So there seems to be multiple versions. But you can see the start of the concept. So let's dive into the concept. So you can see here you have Merman, Beastman, here's Skeletor. This is a very different one. That's Evil Lyn. So a very different take on Evil Lyn, and Trapjaw over here. So you kind of get better looks. Now, I'm not sure, does it say over here who's this version is for? It doesn't seem to say whether that's for the David S. Goyer one or the other one, because this is a very different Skeletor from the other one we'll see, whereas this one you can see very much looks like, in fact, he does have a skull head, red eyes, very slim, so, and very different type of staff there as well, but it's an interesting design. It's again a much more darker kind of design. But there's a better look at the face, so you see the red eyes. That almost looks like hair, but it's the cloak, which is interesting because the hood for the cloak, unless it is meant to be some sort of hair, but that looks like it's a part of him, which I think is interesting. But a very different take on a Skeletor. So here, and you can see size comparisons. You have Beastman, Trapjaw, and Evil Lyn here. The size difference between them and Evil Lyn is quite staggering. Merman, so there's quite a few concept images that we'll be seeing of Merman. But every time I hear Merman, all I can think of is Zoolander. It's Merman. Let's see when he's in the bar. That's quite an interesting design. That almost looks like the weird creature things from Aquaman that were in the trench, the Mariana Trench. So there's a better look at Trapjaw. You can see like he seems to have a lot of kind of mechanical components in him. Like you see his shoulder here seems to be have this mechanical stuff in it. As much as he's bigger looking and more fierce looking, he still is recognizable as Trapjaw, which I think is quite interesting. And there's the Evil Lyn one. So again, a very different take on her. So that could have been interesting. Then this version of Skeletor, which this face doesn't seem to be a face, it seems to be a mask. So you'll see what I mean. So this one, he seems to be more butch, you know. This, however, seems to be more like a suit, because you can see the kind of designs within the legs and the arms and stuff. So that doesn't seem to be his actual body. So interesting. The staff is more the traditional staff though. So there's a better look at the mask, but you'll see what I mean by it being a mask, which I'm pretty sure is the next image. But there you can really see, like, yeah, he's definitely in a suit. So it doesn't seem like his body would have been kind of the bluey purple that Skeletor is. But there is the design that shows you that it's a mask. That's a helmet. So Skeletor wouldn't have actually had a skeleton head. It wouldn't have just been a skull. It would have been a mask. What was under the mask and the helmet? Who knows? But I think that would have been a bit of a letdown. It's an interesting design and stuff, but I think that would have been a letdown to know that Skeletor that you were looking at is just simply a dude in a mask. I don't understand the approach to that. Almost looks like a Predator design the way it's there, isn't it? So again, it's an interesting design, but yeah, bit of a cop-out really for it being Skeletor. So you can just see them all there, and yeah, weird. But that was the Skeletor one. And of course we have Battle Cat, and this is Battle Cat, not Cringer, but Battle Cat. So there's not a hell of a lot more you can do with him, but he does look more fierce. He does look a hell of a lot more in line with the cartoon version, the body type and the stripes and stuff on him. So he looks cool. Yeah, the colours are spot on and stuff like that. So yeah, the Battle Cat one is interesting. That one's a bit weird. I think that's a 3D model. By the way, you'll start noticing as well, some of the logos are the new film's logo, which I don't understand why, but it's just weird, kind of stands out. I think the mask is a bit big there. It still doesn't look terrible, but it does look a tiny bit big. So yeah, it's definitely a 3D render for Battle Cat. Now he's Cringer, because without the armor he's Cringer. So he does look a lot fierce there than he did in the new movie. I still don't ever remember him being able to talk. He does in the new movie, but I don't ever remember Cringer and Battle Cat being able to talk. He probably did, but I just can't remember him ever talking. So there's size compare. He's a hell of a lot bigger than he is in the new movie. He's more of a normal lion size. He's about that tall to Adam and stuff in the new one. So he's clearly a bit bigger in this one. See, that's the original design there. So he's not far off. It's an interesting one. Beastman, there's a fair few of Beastman. So here's Beastman. Then this version, which very darker version of him right there. He definitely looks like you don't want to piss this dude off. So, you know, big earring by the looks of it and a nose ring. He definitely looks, yeah. Don't know whether this version would have been R-rated or something, but he definitely looks a lot eviler. And then, of course, these other ideas for him. This version looks a bit wonky, to be honest with you. Yeah, I can see it working, but at the same time, I think the other one was better. So here's a completely different version. He almost looks like an orc rather than Beastman, really, there, doesn't he? It's interesting how they did these 3D digital designs as well. Seems to be missing a tooth or something there. So that's not the only Beastman, and there's this one where you see his armor and stuff. Again, it's just a lot of the same stuff. Him without the armor. Pretty hairy, huh? He's a hairy boy. The head seems to change a few times. He's got more ridges in that one compared to this one. He's like a buzz cut almost. Interesting. Mossman, who, yes, was in the new movie. This was the concept for him. To be honest with you, he's not too far different from the Mossman that was in the new movie. I don't know whether this dude, Constantine, did the art or the designs for the actual Masters of the Universe that just came out, because some of the looks are very, very similar. But of course, if you're keeping it in line with the cartoon and stuff, then yeah, he almost looks more like Swamp Thing there. That version, you could say Mossman. That version, you would say Swamp Thing. That's a very unique. That's almost like a Swamp Thing meets Mossman meets Groot. So that's almost like, that's a weird one. He looks very young in that one. And that just seems to be a overall kind of concept. Orko and this robot thing. Now, this robot is in the new movie. So that's why I'm wondering, like, has this guy actually worked on the new movie? Because this, and I think it's Kristen Wiig who actually does the voice for the robot, but this thing is in the new movie. So it's like, did he, and again, like, it's the new movie's logo. But you see, he's saying here, this is the version for directors Adam and Aaron Nee. So, it's very interesting that these designs are almost identical to the designs that are in the new movie. So, this was just for the robot. And you see that Orko is in there, but Orko is also here. And again, Orko does show up in a post-credit scene in the new movie, and he doesn't quite look like this version. He looks a little more like the cartoon version, but again, it's the clothes-wise is very similar. So, yeah, that looks like he's almost like a weird cat. That face, if you took the fur away and put some dots on it, it almost looks like one of the Na'vi from Avatar. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. So, you know, it's there, he's done different things with the eyes, like no pupils. Pupils. No pupils again. Oh, this is what his design is without the mask and stuff. Which I don't think you ever see Orko without the mask and hat. That's an interesting one. And then this version of Merman. It's Merman. So this one says it's for David Goyer. So this was for his version. So again, very beast looking. You know, again, it does look very much like the creatures from what do you call it? Aquaman. I wonder, maybe the guy designed the stuff for the creatures in Aquaman. This one seems to have, I don't know whether this is just different colours on his body, but it almost looks like armour in that one. But it seems to be just the colours of his body. Yeah, so very interesting. You can see all the different type of ones he has here that you can scroll through. You know, did he do the designs for the dragons and House of the Dragon and stuff? Fair enough. Yeah, he seems to have done a lot of different designs, but overall, it could have been a very, very different version of Masters of the Universe that we got in the end. So, would you have liked to have seen these concepts be put to screen in some form or another? What do you think about this one being the fact that this Skeletor's, it's a mask and a helmet rather than just his actual head? Let me know what you think about it all, and do you think we missed out? Let me know. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and hit that hype button and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.